Well, folks, hello and welcome back to the Speed Street Podcast. My name is Connor Daly. We took a week off to let some news brew up a little bit, to let some items pop out into reality that everyone thought was going to happen, a.k.a. David Malukas, going to Penske. There's a lot of rumors still to talk about. There's a lot of rumors that continuously being proven false, which is very funny. And I enjoy that. And there's just, we miss IndyCar racing, honestly. I realized that over the week. We didn't have a show, but we got to see so many cool things. And with James Hinchcliffe and Romain Grosjean testing for Haas and the Formula One cars, it still feels like IndyCar is back, even though we're not racing. There's just a lot of great IndyCar stuff happening, it feels like. And I think we can be very positive about that. We're going to have a couple more episodes as we get towards the deeper end of the off season, so we can kind of space these out as we go here, and then have some conversations with some folks that might mean something to all of you folks that listen, and we appreciate. Once again, give yourselves a pats on the back for being listeners, for being viewers of this show. We appreciate you guys. We're going to talk to Jamie Little this week, who obviously a big part of the Fox network. She is, a legendary racing name. You know what if she's talking, I'm thinking this is probably a great race that's going on. I don't know. I'm excited about it. So I've known Jamie a long time. Can't wait to hear more from her side on, what Fox is looking at for next year and what they can do even bigger and better for next year. I think that'll be good. Get her thoughts on the season. But honestly, there's one thing as well, Chase, which I know you watch, and I know that this is another track that I think should be on the IndyCar schedule. But the NASCAR race at Kansas was awesome. I wish we raced at Kansas. That was once again a track that I drove in the Truck Series, and IndyCar should be at Kansas, 150,000%.
I'm glad.
I wish our series could understand that. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you say it. We need more intermediate tracks like that for IndyCar. And I think that it's really cool because I've been seeing a lot of people that, we've been talking a lot on this program about how IndyCar needs more podcasts. IndyCar needs more fans that are taking that time to really engage with other fans like that. And I've been hearing some other people that are on the come up out there talking about how they're really starting to understand and respect this love for ovals. So could be a really good snowball effect happening going into the next 2-3 years for this series. So I know we got some good things to look forward to in 2026 with ovals. So getting any of them is a good thing at this point.
One new one being Phoenix, and we need more. We cannot be afraid to go to a place like Kansas. I think it would be such a fun race for us, such a great show for the fans.
Man, would it?
Oh my gosh. Anyway, we got to talk about some of the biggest news. We're going to go through, to give you guys kind of a list to space this out a little bit. We're going to go through the David Malukas move. We're going to go through IndyCar testing is happening this week. We know some of the drivers obviously testing this week, and then some of the drivers, some very exciting announcements for later in the month of October. A lot of IndyCar testing in October. So you are going to see some photographs of drivers in race cars doing some circulating, as they say. And there's some leadership changes as well within teams, and we're going to talk about that, some driver announcements, and we're going to talk about some driver announcements that's probably going to come very soon. Like we said on last week's show, I knew the David Malukas, everyone knew the David Malukas announcement was coming, but we can't say it. We got to be respectful. We got to respect the process, and as is this week, we're going to respect the process, even though I know that certain deals are done. We're going to respect the process. Let's talk first about David Malukas going to the 12 car. Once again, all the rumors that people start, this was always very solid. Like this was always very, very, almost definitely happening for several months, I feel like. And I think with Will Power's performance, he without a doubt deserved to stay there. But at the end of the day, if you, from a driver's perspective, if all of a sudden the team isn't really, it's really hard to stay motivated to be with a group that might not be as motivated to keep you, honestly. And that's totally fair. And if Will Power has another opportunity, which he does at Andretti, I mean, I think that's an easy decision for Will. He's won so many trophies for Team Penske. He's won, the biggest on the biggest stages. So I understand it, but the David Malukas chatter, it's very interesting. It's very Team Penske always does seem to try to find that next young stud. I mean, they did the same with Joseph Newgarden, although Joseph Newgarden had won before he went to Team Penske. So I would say this, in my own personal opinion, I think David is very fast. I think he is very skilled, and I think he has demonstrated just some raw speed that is very impressive. But I do think there's still a lot to prove for David Malukas. And you're going to go into the engineering room now against Joseph Newgarden and Scott McLaughlin, who are very good. And also, the two Foyt cars, that there'll be some data there and some sharing. So you're going to have Santino and the other driver that they have signed, or they may potentially have signed. But I think that's a lot of pressure. And this guy's almost got into McLaren, and then wasn't. Then was MSR, and then Foyt. So he's had a bit of a wild run. But it's a great storyline going into 2026. It's a young, talented American. What's going to happen?
Yeah, he slicked his hair back.
Is he going to be good? Are the social channels going to still be rolling? Is it going to be Mimi? I don't know.
That's the big one for me, right? Because when you look at this move, automatically we knew that Will Power was kind of the veteran guy. He was the top guy there. He has had multiple wins for that team. And now you move into this brand new era of Penske, right? You've got you could make an argument saying that because of Joseph Newgarden's Indy 500 wins, he's kind of the leader now, kind of the veteran at Penske.
Oh, yeah.
Right behind him is Scott McLaughlin, and now you have young boy David Malukas. So he's already slicking his hair back. He's changing his style a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if he can fully let go of the meme life. That's a big one for me because I've already seen him and Scott having exchanges online, which are pretty funny because Scott's wondering, like, I need to get caught up, with the 6.7s, and I need to understand all of this lingo now. So
Yes.
I think Penske in 2025, where we're at now, especially kind of when you look at in the NASCAR realm, they're starting to really come around to understanding this new age of media that we're in. So with David coming to the fold, I think he's going to be able to bring a lot more than just on-track product and on-track productivity. He's going to be able to help them a little bit kind of come into this new age. And I think that's going to be a good thing, not just for David, but for Scott and for Joseph, because we know that those are two funny guys as well. So anything that can help, on-track performance and off-track performance is a good thing. I think this is a new era that we're about to enter for Penske, and I think it's going to be great. I don't have as many worries as most people may.
Yeah, I think this is a fun part about sports. And it doesn't matter what sport it is. You got a first-round draft pick in the NFL, NBA, MLB, like, can't wait to see how this guy does. This is almost like, hey, take a little bit of a risk on a first-round draft pick, and David Malukas going to the top team is going to be very interesting. So, do I still believe that Renus probably deserved that seat more? I do, and I think he could produce right out the gate. However, that's a tough decision to make for that team, and honestly, a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah." I actually had another driver. I won't name who it was. He was like, "Oh yeah, Renus is in the 12. I already know." I'm like, I don't know if that's true, but so the rumor mill is still like people. I don't know where people are getting certain bits of information, but it is very funny to see how these things. Because again, we had another driver announce, which I was even asked at a media day in Milwaukee. Oh, so Dennis Hogger is going to Juncos, right? That came from a parody account. Like I literally, what are we reading, folks? I mean, just take 5 seconds and look at it and be like, I don't know if this is real. It's so easy to do,
dude. We're ready for that info now. We need it now.
I'm just laughing. We're in such a hilarious area of the internet, and everyone wants to go viral. Everyone wants to have that popular moment where, like, yeah, I got everyone on the internet. And once again, the folks got. That didn't happen. Dennis Hogger's going to a Honda team because he's supported by Andretti. And guess what? This is one of the biggest partnerships, I think, recently that we can see. Yeah. And it is so helpful for a team like Dale Coyne Racing. Andretti, Dale Coyne, technical partnership, Dennis Hogger with Dale Coyne Racing. It makes sense completely. They did something similar with Cal Kirkwood. And Dale Coyne, I think, is now going to have access to a tremendous amount of information and a tremendous group of people that are very smart at certainly making cars go fast, not only at Indy, but the street courses. So now who's going to be the ones that are struggling to make the race at the Indy 500? You know what I mean? For me, I look at it, I'm like, there's no way it's Dale Coyne Racing. You know what I mean? I don't believe so. And, there's been a ton of rumors about, Todd Alt and that group obviously own part of Dale Coyne Racing now. His favorite driver is Romain Grosjean. I believe Romain Grosjean is going to be there. I don't see any other way that it'll go. But I also don't want to be that guy who might have just understood and believed someone who I shouldn't have. So who knows what could happen there, but I believe that that's pretty much all but locked in. Who knows, though? Who knows until we see it.
We'll know before Halloween, that's for sure.
Apparently we are going to know before Halloween. But that is so powerful. And what we're seeing now in IndyCar, these technical partnerships, you almost have to have one or you're screwed, honestly, because it has benefited the MSR team massively. I mean, you think of MSR as this powerhouse organization, but they've been so smart to, partner with other powerhouse organizations as well. And they both benefit each other. They both make each other better. I think it's something that is just fantastic to see for IndyCar racing. And who is going to be next, though? Like, who is going to be next? Because now, let's name teams without technical partnerships that we know of. JHR.
Right.
Prema, which is Prema going to be a team next year? That's the big question. We don't know that. ECR. Well, so let's name the teams with partnerships. Penske, Foyt, Ganassi, MSR, Andretti, Coyne. I mean, that takes up most of the grid right there. I mean, that's an insane amount. McLaren are just McLaren. They're just very good. So that's gonna be fine. But it's wild to think that now, are those partnerships going to stick around by the time we get a new car? Because that's when all the teams kind of start from zero. And I could see some of those partnerships dissolving, honestly. I could see some of those partnerships dissolving. But, Andretti, that partnership is not for free for Dale Coyne Racing, right? There's got to be an investment there from Dale Coyne to be like, hey, we're going to make it worth your while to partner with you guys. So maybe they gave him a discount on Dennis Hogger's seat. Who knows? But very interesting to see these technical partnerships happening. I believe you have to have one now in this current era, or you're just going to get left behind. What does it say to you about what Dale Coyne wants to do, you think?
I mean, real quickly, though, is it just going to take having like an Indy Next driver coming into a seat to get a technical partnership at this point? Like, it seems like that's the way it's looking. Seems like that's how it has to happen. And it's like, and if that's how it has to happen, I really agree with you on when the 2028 car gets here, because that's when you're all in the dark and everyone wants to win. And so you got to do what you got to do in some of these smaller teams. But I really look at this as like with Dennis, like this is really an opportunity for Dale Coyne Racing. Huge opportunity for them. Okay. It's almost like the price in my mind. It's like the price is let's set Dennis in this car and then let's get as much data and as much information as we can over the next year to try to make as much money as we can on the track. That's the way that I'm seeing this whole thing go down. So if that's the price to get the technical alliance, I mean, I think that's a bargain. And
information is power. Information is power in this.
But it's only
sport.
for 2 years. It's only for 2 years though. It's information you can really use for 2 years, and maybe you can use a little bit of that in 2028. But the main thing is that
we don't know how long the actual we don't know how long the actual technical partnership is unless they announce that. But we at least only had this car for another 2 years. So
right,
I don't know. I assume that as soon as Dennis is out of there, maybe that partnership dissolves. But who knows? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe
they move. Look at Meyer Shank going from Andretti to Ganassi that fast.
Yeah.
So
it could change.
These things move around. I do think that it's the more the merrier. It's a way for these teams to kind of to get a little more reach on the track out there too. So it's not a bad thing whatsoever. But with Dennis coming in, it's interesting because he had a great 2025 Indy Next run, and I think that looking at it from the standpoint of he'll eventually probably end up in an Andretti car. We just don't know when that is. It's just nice to see some of these teams that have been around for such a long time, especially like Dale Coyne Racing, teams that people didn't really want to believe in, or teams that people maybe didn't take so seriously. Now the tide is turning a bit. And now because I think with Renus's finish in Toronto, that really changed a lot. Looking at not just the team, but Renus as a driver. And it really is. It's surprising now because now everybody's wondering, where's Renus going? Where's he going to end up? And because the Grosjean thing does seem to be the hot topic right now.
Yeah,
but
I cannot believe that it's still one of the most astounding things to say so early that you're not going to go back to a team, because I feel like Renus and Dennis Hogger at that team would have been
phenomenal,
powerhouse. And I just, again,
they could have won, dude. They could potentially win. I think Renus is close to Barber for sure.
Oh, Renus is a winning driver without a doubt. But with this information, you go to a completely different level. And I just, again, I don't think this is Renus making these decisions, honestly. You got to remember that he has a management group that, he trusts to lead him. And I don't understand it to save my life. And again, I think Renus is still one of the most talented drivers on the paddock, and I know he's obviously going after a seat that and a team that I obviously have been a part of, which is fine. That's business. I get that. But man, I don't understand how you leave something like that on the table so early in the off. So that's one of the biggest questions and one of the biggest kind of I have questions about it. I'm like, well, who made that decision? I have a lot of questions.
Who's on the call, dude?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. You need to be able, especially where IndyCar is right now. I understand people need money. I get that. But when you look at the long term of where this sport's going, we got a 5-year deal with Fox. Things are changing. Taking some short-term financial sacrifice for long-term career success, in my mind, that's where you want to be at.
Yeah, I just don't understand it all. And then obviously, speaking about what the Andretti team has gained, along with the partnerships with Coyne, they've got Ron Rzucki, who guess who he worked with and guess who he knows very well, Will Power. Well, Ron Rzucki went from Penske to Andretti, and once again, this sport, time and time again, good teams know what to do. They go after the best people that you can possibly find. And if I were a smaller team, now again, the budgets and you try to go after those guys as aggressively as you can go after them. But sure enough, maybe the bigger teams do have more money to pay these guys like Ron Rzucki, but that's a huge partnership that once again strengthens a good team and again leaves some of the smaller teams in a tough spot because you're like, dang, like they got, like we would have loved to have had that guy, but maybe they couldn't afford him. I don't know. But that's a huge strength asset to not only Andretti but also Coyne. Will Power knows Ron Rzucki very well. What a surprise. I think that's going to be a huge partnership with those guys. There are so many things that are really changing the landscape of what IndyCar already looks like for next year. And it's very, very cool to see. So I would love to know in the comments or on the Twitters or on the Instagrams what you guys think of these partnerships. I think they're very, very important. I think, again, it changes the landscape of what we're already going to see for next year in a massive way. So let's talk about some more drivers that are testing. This week, we've got a test at Mid-Ohio. You're going to see Cal Collette, who was very good in Indy NXT test for Foyt. The word on the street is he's got a lot of support to go to that car. Now, that would be a wild shift in what we thought was going to happen. Everyone was like, oh, Arenas is definitely going to Foyt. Well, that was wrong. That was never going to happen in the first place. But for some reason, it made enough sense in our own minds to think that that was going to happen.
Right.
But we'll see what goes on there. Felipe Nasr obviously will be testing for Penske, and that's just a free test day because it's an evaluation thing. But that's just obviously we know that he's already with Penske on the sports car side. Niels Coolin testing for Chip Ganassi Racing. Obviously, he's a part of their Indy NXT program, so good for him. There is a big name that was announced that is going to test for the Rahal Letterman Lanigan team at the Indy Road Course later in October. Mick Schumacher. That's huge for this, for just headlines and series and all kinds of stuff. I don't know Mick. I've never known Mick, but obviously his dad. His dad was my hero in Formula One. That was really, really cool. And I think, do I believe he is going to race for the Rahal Letterman Lanigan team? Absolutely not. I truly do not believe that. I think that they have an evaluation day to use. I think they're very smart about PR. And I think that Mick is interested in IndyCar. Is there a seat there? I actually don't believe that there is a seat there. I really don't. So
I actually wanted to ask you about this. Talking about RLL, there was a rumor going around that they may be trying to sell a charter. Do you know of any truth to that?
I think that there's a lot going on behind the scenes that, again, is not for me to speak about. I think it's entirely possible. I think that there's...
I think it's a good money move.
I think it could be. I think it could be. It could be possible because at the end of the day, if they don't have enough money to run that car, and they have a bunch of people who, again, there are a lot of people, and if you guys didn't know this, and if you still don't believe in charters, well, you're wrong. First of all, because you're just wrong. It's created something that people want,
value.
And this could be the first sign that, hey, something that is wanted that one team really might not have the money to sustain and could get rid of. This could be it. And who knows if it is. Honestly, let's say Mick Schumacher has a great test and it all goes well. Who knows? Maybe some magical things happen. But I believe that seat's really not available. I just don't think that that's going to happen. So that's my own personal opinion. But really cool headline. So maybe that charter's up for grabs and we can get some crazy headlines and some great PR for that team as we go through the month of October, because it is very exciting. It is cool.
They've been awesome too. They've been tweeting a lot about NASCAR lately. RLL has.
They have,
I don't know if you've seen that.
I have, yeah.
So they're getting their hands out there. Big shout out to the RLL guys. I'll just give that a quick shout out to them.
Absolutely.
Great guys.
That I think is just as a racing fan. Again, Mick had a tough time in F1, tough time, but obviously a legendary name and really cool to see him get that opportunity. How many times we've seen Nico Hulkenberg get IndyCar tests. We've seen a lot of F1 drivers in the off season, kind of as they're dabbling around and what's going on for their future. Take some F1 tests, so we get it. A couple other leadership changes. These are all things that are happening, and hopefully you might not have missed it, but Eric Cowden is leaving Ed Carpenter Racing to go to Arrow McLaren. Guess who leads McLaren? Tony Kanaan. Eric Cowden and Tony Kanaan have worked together in a very successful way before, so that's not surprising at all. Tony Kanaan has known everyone and worked with everyone in all these teams before, so if he sees a good guy that becomes available, he's going to go after him because Tony Kanaan has an unlimited budget to do that, essentially. I mean, I don't know that, but I assume he does.
And he's Tony Kanaan, too. He is Tony. People just want to work with Tony.
Tony's a great guy.
Yeah.
Tony's a great guy.
People like to work with him. I think that he is really on a mission to build a powerhouse over there at McLaren. They have high expectations, especially with having the F1 team. You know that they want to be the top dogs for Chevy if they can. That's a pretty stiff competition with Penske being kind of like in that place for so long. So I love that move. The move with him, the move with Iran. I mean, seeing Chevy have a little bit of that as well is important because it seems like a lot is front loaded on Honda right now. And, you know, with looking at this past season, another thing that I just kind of wanted to pick your brain about, do you think that we're primed for a changing of the guard right now? Because of what we had with Ganassi going into 2025, how just dominant that they were, specifically Alex Palou. But with Andretti now getting Ron coming over, having Will Power, does that almost kind of make you feel like they're going to maybe reshape and reform kind of like what we've seen out of Penske for so long with their drivers over there?
Until someone does it, Ganassi remains the king. Until someone dethrones Alex Palou and Ganassi, I don't see any reason why we even question it. So,
are these other trying to?
I mean, are these other teams doing the right things? Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Like, you're seeing these teams that are not winning 4 championships and who have not done, winning 8 races with Alex Palou. We're seeing these teams make moves, and again, that's what sport is all about. You go after the people that you believe could make you a championship-winning organization into the 2026 season. So it's cool to see. I think there's some of the smaller teams that don't have. I believe the group that I've worked with that I would like to continue to work with, JHR. I'm still continuing to try to strengthen my chance at being a driver there. Who knows how it's going to happen, but I believe we've got to work really hard at trying to find some people and find some more information to make that group bigger. And I bet ECR wants to do the same. They've got a ton of money, but they've got people leaving. So who knows what's going to happen when they, when they go through the off season. Maybe they're very confident in the path that they're going down. They made a lot of improvements with the investment, but I do believe that there are a lot of other good teams that are making good moves to challenge Ganassi. So that's good for IndyCar. Great stuff for IndyCar.
For sure.
And I can't wait to see, honestly, what happens. It's going to be really, really exciting. So you've got a lot to pay attention to, folks. Real quick, before we get to our guests, too, there's a feel-good moment. A lot of feel-good moments that were happening. Grosjean jumping in the Haas Formula One car again, obviously, a reunification since his massive accident there with the big fire. And James Hinchcliffe becoming a Formula One test driver. That was really cool. I love that Formula One can do this. I don't know how it happens or why, but the fact that they have enough resources and the ability to just, hey, we're testing, we're dedicating a day to 2 guys that are not going to be our race car drivers, but that's awesome. Like, that's just awesome to do. Romain Grosjean getting to jump in a Formula One car again. It was a feel good moment. It was hey, these guys are sort of IndyCar folks now. Now obviously Grosjean was a Formula One driver for many years, but just a cool thing. And I can't wait to talk to Hinchcliffe about his Formula One test. He was texting us throughout the whole day about the weather, and we were a bunch of group chats about with Hinch, and so obviously Hinch is a great representative for IndyCar, I believe. Hinch is a great representative for IndyCar, and he gets to go out and sample Formula One machinery. I think that is huge for our sport. I thought that was awesome. Did you follow along with that at all, Chase? Did you think that was cool?
Yeah, I support James Hinchcliffe. James is the homie, dude. I love that
Hinch
guy.
To Haas.
So, yeah, I love being able to see race car drivers get behind the wheel of whatever it may be, like, because that's what you guys love. And so I mean, like, for James doing the broadcast and stuff now, any opportunity that he can get, no matter what it is, but because it was over there and it was in that Haas F1 car, you could just see there was like a difference in his look on his social media. Like, he was lit up, dude. Like, and so like that right there is what I love to see for just people that I know in my life. Like, if you're out there and you're getting to kind of live out your dreams and do your thing, man, I support the hell out of that. So I thought it was awesome for James, man. And yeah, it was, he had a lot of great video footage. The picture of him holding the helmet coming out, like, that was cool to see. It was just good to see him back suited up behind the wheel, man.
They do a lot of
reruns.
They do a great job over there with the socials. Goodness gracious. I felt like I was locked in the whole time with this whole journey of, like, get me involved. I just again, Formula One is still king. We get it. It's just it's so wild. But IndyCar is also back. We've got drivers over there testing Formula One cars. We've got Pato testing Formula One cars. IndyCar is so back. We're on our way.
Racing's hot. Racing's hot right now. You know,
IndyCar is back, yet we're not racing. So I still wish we were racing at this time of year. But again, maybe it is the right move to not be up against the NFL. I don't know. But just a feel good moment. I thought that was something that I just enjoyed seeing. And as we go through these next couple weeks too, we're going to see more announcements. I believe there are drivers signed. I believe we are going to see those things happen sooner rather than later. I think October is going to be a crazy one. But also let us know what you like to see on this podcast. Let us know as we round out our season of podcasting, as we go into the winter, into the dark winter of coldness in Indiana, and we see what happens in the future. Let us know what you want to be seeing and who you want us to be talking to, because I did send a message to Dennis Hoggart. I think he's going to be on our show at some point, which would be great to talk to him. And he is deserving to be on this show. We Indy NXT champion. I believe we'll see him on the show very, very soon. And that's going to be really, really fun to talk to him about. I also asked David Malukas. I asked Callum Ilott again to be on the show. But Callum Ilott, he's the most mystifying guest of all time. Callum is a great friend and a great driver, and who knows what's going to happen in his future. But I still would like to talk to Callum about some great performances that he had this year with the Prema Racing team. So the mystical Callum Ilott, maybe he'll be on the show at some point. Maybe he doesn't like me behind the scenes. I don't know. I just don't know.
He's camera shy.
Who knows? Maybe he is. But
also,
Callum Ilott, great driver.
I wanted to note a couple of two quick things. I think it was awesome to hear Jack Harvey is going to be driving for Dreyer Reinbold 2026 Indy 500. Yep. He's back.
Jack is back.
I told him, I was like, I got to rip a pack of Star Wars for you, dog. The dude loves his Star Wars cards.
Big trading card guy. Yep. I was opening Pokemon packs with Jack Harvey last week. So
there you go. So yeah, the Rip Pack boys, back at it. And then you were talking about Indy Next as well, and I think it's a really cool thing. They're going to be expanding their schedule to 17 races, and that's going to all be on FS1. They're going to have some double headers. That's more track time for some of these developing drivers, the young and up and coming, and be able to have them. I think that you'll start to see maybe a little bit more growth out of their socials and what they're doing, and anything to get more track time and more races. That's cool. So I think more people should definitely tune in to some Indy Next races going into 2026. And then watch IndyCar, the NTT IndyCar series as well. So
I agree. I think we need the however many millions or the solid 700K people that were watching our sport. We would love everyone to be watching Indy NXT as well, because I think it helps support the ladder system. It helps support Fox. It helps support IndyCar as a series,
an entity.
17 races is great. A lot of double headers, but that's what junior category racing is.
Tracks we race at. That's the way I see it. That's more practice at tracks that the big dogs race at. So
absolutely, and we see it with F2 and F3. A lot of those races are double headers as well. So support series can do that. I believe that's a good thing. And to see 17 races for the Indy NXT series, I think that's fantastic, and more opportunity to be seen, more opportunity to be racing. So I think that's great. So with that, let's get to our guest segment. I think after that, we might, clear up a few things and continue to talk about some news items, but we got to get to our guest, because I think we have a great opportunity to learn a lot of new things and a great opportunity to ask someone who has been around the sport a long time. So with that, let's get to legendary commentator, pit reporter, sports personality, Jamie Little. Well, folks, we're very, very lucky to have someone who I believe is one of the most recognizable sports personalities' names, is certainly in my era of living. And if you know motorsport, you know the name Jamie Little. Jamie, we appreciate you being here. You were a part of our wonderful IndyCar family this year. You have been in so many times before, but this felt like the start of something great with Fox. I want you to just right out the gate tell us how you felt about this year, how you felt being, with this, or obviously you've been with Fox for a while, but this is something that is so exciting for us as IndyCar folks, I believe. So what did you think of year one?
Yes. Well, thank you, first off, Chase and Connor, for having me. So cool to talk IndyCar again, right? I have been away for a minute, but it was so much fun. It felt like a homecoming of sorts, especially now because I am a Hoosier. I've been living in Indy and Zionsville for 8 years. So all the years of covering the Indy 500, the IndyCar series, I was a Vegas girl. So, it's part of who I am now. My family works in IndyCar. So I've been in NASCAR. Gosh, I just completed my 19th season. But of course, I covered IndyCar and NASCAR, together for so long. But when I signed with Fox, I had to say, see ya to IndyCar. 2015 was my first year with Fox. And you just never know how TV rights deals work. But I didn't foresee IndyCar ever being part of the future of Fox and, of course, my future. So when we were in negotiations, it was like, oh, my gosh, this could really happen. And I know my boss, Eric Shanks. You've all heard of Eric Shanks. It is a small but mighty company in Fox. I mean, everybody knows the top boss. I talk to my top boss. Not many people can say that. I couldn't say that at ESPN, right? But I knew when he put his mind to something and he wanted to live out a childhood dream of having the Indy 500 on his air, I knew nothing was going to stop them, and the sky was the limit. And that's how I feel about the whole season.
I love that. And I felt the same way when I got to sit down with Eric Shanks at a dinner in Indianapolis, and his passion for the Indy 500, first of all, but also the series, I think it was as folks who participate in this sport that we want to see, shoot off in a rocket ship to the moon. It was just really cool, and it felt good. It gave me the warm and fuzzies inside. You know what I mean? Like, this is nice. Some guy cares about what we're doing. This is cool.
Yes.
And then we saw them buy into the sport, which was even bigger. What did that say to you as someone who works, obviously, to make this sport help us get to the moon? When you saw that, what did that say to you about where IndyCar is going?
Well, first off, I'm like you guys. Who's heard of, like, the entitlement? The company that's broadcasting is buying into a sport. I thought, what is this? And it's something new. And of course, since then, we heard ESPN buy into the NFL. It's a thing. I think all that says is that is exactly what Fox thinks of the future of IndyCar, what the potential is. They wouldn't buy into something that they feel like is going to maintain or drop below what we did this year. They are invested. They see what all of you have seen in IndyCar for years and years and years. And the future is bright. I think it sent, shockwaves through the whole motorsport industry when they saw that Fox actually bought into an entire series. What does that mean? How does it look? I can tell you that I interviewed my boss, Eric Shanks, on the stage last week for the Penske Partner Summit, and he's all in. Like, I asked him, what did you see in IndyCar? And he said, there aren't many sports where there's a lot of room for growth. He said, college football and IndyCar. It has everything. It has the map to be great. It's just a matter of marketing. He said marketing is so much of what we do. Once you market to those fans and they see what we're doing and what the product is, you're in. And we saw a little bit of that this year. Growth 27% on the whole season on broadcast. I mean, that was the first year. There's so much more still to come.
I agree. Any fun things from the Penske Partner Summit that you can share with us? Obviously, that's a big deal. A lot of big names, big businesses. Any fun things that maybe we want to share from the Penske Partner Summit?
Well, Doug Bowles was there in a suit.
Nice.
So yeah. That was
all right. Okay, we'll take it.
Yeah, the partners, you guys know Penske has amazing partners, and many of them are Fortune 500 companies. So this is like every year they bring them all together and they talk about what's happening with NASCAR, what's happening in IndyCar. But of course, a lot of this was IndyCar focused, I think, because we're going to see the Grand Prix of Arlington. So that's where this took place. So it was basically showing the roadmap, what this road course is. We all went over and had this big shindig at Cowboys Stadium. And I got to interview Charlotte Jones. She's a co-owner of the Cowboys. She talked to all the IndyCar people, NASCAR people there. Joe, all their drivers were there. It was awesome. But yeah, you just felt the energy. People are excited about what they saw this year. You know, ratings are everything. And any slight uptick is a good thing, Connor, you know. But to say it was 27%, and sure, a lot of that was, of course, the Indy 500. Take it any way you can get it. Eyeballs are watching.
Absolutely. Chase, I'm going to let you jump in here.
Yeah, one big thing, Jamie, that I'm looking forward to going into 2026 is this IndyCar NASCAR crossover at Phoenix. Can you share with us a little bit about how you feel about that and what we could expect from that event?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, Chase, was Fox pushing. Let's do a double header. You know, long gone are the days of that's IndyCar, we're NASCAR, we're not going to get along, we're opposite, we don't want to help them with their fans. We're all in this together. As you guys know, if we want to rise, all ships, as they say, we need to come together, capitalize on those eyeballs, right? And hey, we're going to go to Phoenix. We all know IndyCar is freaking amazing on ovals. Everybody wants to see more ovals. My first time ever seeing IndyCar was at Phoenix. It was spectacular. Now fans that are buying tickets to that racetrack aren't just going to get a cup race, Xfinity race, and ARCA race. You're getting a premier IndyCar race as well. I mean, who wouldn't want to buy a ticket to that? And, you know, we're going to have a lot of fans that probably have never seen IndyCar with their own eyes in person before. I think it's a win-win for everybody. And then going back to the first race of the season at St. Pete, a doubleheader with the Truck Series.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I call the Truck Series, so it's going to be incredible how narrow that course is. I mean, those guys don't back down, as you know. They've got bumpers. So, Connor, we're going to see a little bit. I think you need to get in a truck there, actually.
Yeah, Connor.
You know what? I would do that. If it were, well, first of all, I got to find a job on both sides or one side, either one, we'll figure it out. But if I am somehow back full-time in the IndyCar series, I would certainly entertain the idea as long as it didn't take away from anything on the IndyCar side. But it is awesome. I agree with what you said. The crossover, the coinciding with NASCAR in a more friendly way. I think that's just fantastic for motorsport. I like watching race cars. I don't care if they got fenders. I don't care if they got wings on it. I don't care. I love it. And so when we see this for our fans, I think it's a very good step in the right direction. So I completely agree with you. I want to know from this year, what did you think was the most impactful moment for our sport? What did you think felt the best for you to see throughout our year? What was a moment where you were like, that was awesome? That was just awesome for IndyCar.
I mean, how could you not look at the Indy 500?
True.
The pace lap with the Black Hawk helicopters, that was a moment that said, Fox is here and this is the future and this is what we have to offer. We are our best today. I think it delivered. Everything about Pelot and rewriting the record book. Some people love that. Some people hate seeing the same guy win all the time. But it was his first oval win, right?
Yeah.
His first oval win. All the star power. I mean, I got to interview Gronk and Tom Brady and Michael Strahan, and Fox News was there live inside turn one. Like, it was just, to me, as a reporter and somebody who loves the sport, I looked at that day and that weekend like, man, this is like as good as it gets. If this doesn't move that meter, nothing will. And then we got the results back, and over 7 million people alone watched it on TV. So to your point, Connor, I think that was the moment for me. And of course, in the season, things got better. You started seeing a little more technology on the TV side. It wasn't perfect still, but that's because they're trying so many new things and so many things on Fox's plate that they are creative. This is an amazingly creative team at IndyCar on Fox, and you guys are only going to see more. It's just going to get better.
What do you personally think would be cool to add to our broadcast? Like, what do you think is the next step? Because obviously, I know for a fact, because I talked to Pam, who obviously is incredible in the fight, and she's such a great leader of a lot of folks over there in the booths, in the trailers. But I know that there was a lot of struggles this year. There was some technology that wasn't agreeing, and there were some difficult moments. But that will obviously get sorted. But what do you think is the next step that we can bring to the broadcast? Is it something? Is it a technological advancement where you're seeing all of our vitals at the same time? Is it something to where there's more camera angles? What gets you excited about the future of IndyCar broadcasting?
For me, because being a reporter, I like to share the stories, the people who are driving these cars at unbelievable speeds, doing something so dangerous and putting your life on the line and the risk. And IndyCar has more inherent risk than NASCAR. I mean, that's not, a secret. We all know that.
Yes.
But I think that the more you can show what you guys as drivers are doing, showing your vitals. I flew with David Malukas. We flew down to the Penske deal together because he's a Penske guy. He's learning the ropes real quick. You wear those suits all the time. We were talking about his heart rate and that his heart rate stays sustained at like 190 for a race. That is a lot. Anybody that works out that knows anything about your heart rate, I never get to 190. When I'm pushing myself, feeling like I'm going to puke, I'm at like 178. So, I mean, that stuff is just, it's things that you can talk about in a broadcast instead of just a car maybe on track. You're diving into what this driver is up against. These are times, we actually did this in NASCAR a little bit, where you show his heart rate and like when you think it would peak, it doesn't. And when is it highest? When is it lowest? I think those things are interesting. I loved what they did with the heads-up display. I call it the heads-up display. There's a technical term for it, but basically showing what the driver's seeing, the gearing and the RPMs. There's gearheads. They love to see that stuff. Now, I would also like to see for maybe the younger fans that might not be like super into cars or whatever, show the lifestyle. Show how cool it is. Maybe if they're F1 fans, like this is F1 but better. And I only say that because I'm a fan of IndyCar and I don't really watch F1, but the racing, the personalities, we have it all here. I just want to show that more and more. And don't be afraid to show you guys as rock stars. What kind of life are you? What kind of car do you drive? Show the fancy cars at the racetrack, like sell it. It shouldn't be attainable to anybody, right? It's not everybody's sport. That's why you watch it and appreciate it.
I love that. Those are great ideas. Chase, I'm going to let you jump in here again.
Yeah, you said these guys are rock stars. You yourself are a rock star, Jamie. I remember seeing you, I think, for the first time on Fantastic Four when I was a young boy, interviewing Johnny. I think, and that's one thing that really excites me. Are there any internal conversations about getting some of these guys in IndyCar now that Fox has such a big ownership into some of these television shows, into some of these other productions that are out there? For just the casual television viewer to maybe get to learn who these guys are and then bring them into the sport?
Yeah, well, as you know, I mean, there's Fox Entertainment, Fox News, there's all of that. I'm sure that they're working on those things to help build, because putting them on Fox Entertainment helps us with Fox Sports, right?
Sure.
I think you saw a good amount of that this year, just starting, where you're seeing, Joseph at the Super Bowl, they take different drivers to different events to showcase, IndyCar, this is what we're doing. Every Sunday, you can see it on Fox. I think that's a great start, where you take it outside of motorsports and you just put it out there on a platter for the world to see, like, hey, NFL guys, what about race car drivers? And they're like, Joseph, like, how cool is that?
Right.
I think that that's a great start. And Fox, they don't say no to anything like that. So I would imagine behind the scenes, they are working on those types of things. And I asked Shanks, my boss, about, continuing those commercials that we saw with Pillow and Joseph. It was amazing. Award. I mean, it was so cool. I guess the integration into everything that Fox did, the Super Bowl, you know how much Super Bowl ads are. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
We saw them in there. We saw them during the Daytona 500. So I think that got a lot of people interested, because they were short little movie trailers, as you guys know. And I know people are kicking themselves for saying no to being in them, like Graham Rahal.
All right. Dang. Love that. Now we know.
Because
love that.
I mean, we started this off, right, talking about you met Shanks and you loved what he believed, but you guys have all been told this before from other networks. And it's not that the other networks haven't done a good job, but I think that everybody had a little trepidation, like, okay, we've been told all these things, but what are we going to see? How are they really going to deliver? And I think straight out of the box, way before the season even started, they they show these commercials and people were like, holy cow, the amount of money and design and creative that went into making those happen. So those are going to continue just to push the brand and continue, showing the personalities, because I just feel that really is what moves the needle. You can think racing is cool, but until you grab onto somebody and you have that emotional connection of rooting for them, you're not going to stay involved.
Absolutely. No, you're entirely spot on with that. I was with Jack Harvey recently, and Jack Harvey obviously was a part of the Fox broadcast.
Yeah.
He said that I said, who, I don't know what I asked him, but I said, who was actually, like, what did it feel like as you got into it? Who was the most helpful person? Did you ask? And he said the most helpful person that he had listened to and got to talk to was you. And so that's very, very cool to hear. Were you able to kind of help Jack learn the ropes a little bit about getting the mic in his hand and figuring out what to say and when to say it and how to say it? What did you think of him as the year went on?
Yeah, it's funny. I knew Jack as the driver. We had met a couple times. And then he came to the big shoot that Fox did, take you guys through everything, the hero shots and the interviews and all that. And I met him and I was like, this guy is so talkative. He's so nice. And then it turned out he's driving for my brother-in-law's team, Dreyer Reinbold. And I was like, perfect. It's like in the family. Well, I guess it was probably a couple weeks later, he sends me a text and he's like, hey, because I had kind of heard that they really liked him and they were looking at him to do the pit reporting. And I was like, great. Like, he knows everybody. People love him. Great personality, great accent, great hair, all those things.
Yeah.
And so he reaches out and he's like, Jamie, I think it's happening. I'm waiting on my contract. We're 2 weeks out from St. Pete. Still waiting on my contract, but I think this is happening and I have no idea where to start. And I said, okay, I can meet you for coffee. I was literally at like Kansas Speedway or something, and I flew in late that night, met him like 7 hours later at Java House on Michigan in Zionsville. We meet, we start talking, and I just threw it all at him. This is how you pit report. This is how it goes down. This is my iPad that has all my notes. Oh, look, the Charlotte Roval's on there now.
Let's go.
This is how you keep notes. And we went from there. Honestly, Connor, then I was asked to be part of St. Pete, and that was great because then we just tagged along. I showed him as much as I could, and he was drinking from a fire hose, no doubt, 100%. But I'm so proud of him. He did awesome. We had dinner the other night, and he did great. He's the personality that Fox loves, and you have to have that in with everybody because you have to interview your friends and your foes, right? Which is awkward sometimes, but he did a great job.
Yeah, that was cool to hear. Because I immediately was like, that makes sense. Jamie's great at her job. She's always willing to help. You've always been willing to help me. And so that was really cool. Before we let you go, we're going to do early 2026 championship prediction and Indy 500 winning prediction. I want to hear from you right now on the spot, who's going to win next year's championship and who's going to win the Indy 500.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to put you right on the spot because we don't have a lot to talk about in this offseason right now. We got some news here and there, but we want to get I miss racing, so we want to start predicting.
Oh my gosh. Well, Penske doesn't stay down long.
That's true.
Very true.
So I'm going to predict that Penske wins the championship.
Driver, though? Driver?
Which one?
Which one?
Which one?
We got to go driver.
I don't know if I'm willing to say Malukas is going to win a race yet. I have to say something first, right?
All right.
I agree.
But I would say, oh gosh, I'm going to say Newgarden comes back.
Okay.
I mean, he had everything go wrong that he could possibly have go wrong this year. So I'm just going to say he's going to have a comeback story.
Absolutely.
Right.
I agree. I'm in the same boat, Jamie.
Yeah,
so me and you
right?
are paddling that one together.
I don't hate that.
Know that team. I mean, look at them in NASCAR this year. Slow start, and then all of a sudden they're on pole, leading the most laps, advancing to the next round of the playoffs. Like, they just know.
500.
just for, can I say shit and giggles here?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Let's say Will Power wins the 500.
Oh, that would be wild.
Whoa.
Man, that would be a big one.
That's a good one.
Sometimes it just takes a change for somebody to shoot out of a cannon and
sure,
with that vibe and, that chemistry or proving a point. So, yeah, there you go.
I couldn't love that pick more.
Tricks.
Yeah, I couldn't love that pick more, honestly. Jamie, we really appreciate you being here. I think the future with Fox and IndyCar, I think it's very, very exciting. Obviously, we can still listen to you with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. I obviously watch that all the time. I would love to drive in it again, but
Yes.
we are watching intently. So thank you for joining this show, honestly, and we can't wait for next year. Can't wait for the Fox IndyCar rocket ship to continue its path to the moon.
Yes, I wish we didn't have to wait so long till next season, but people are working hard behind the scenes. Somebody get this man a ride. Connor, we need you in a car next year.
Yeah.
We're working on it. Don't worry. We don't go down without a fight.
That's right. Thanks,
All right,
you guys.
thank you,
I
Jamie.
appreciate it.
What an awesome opportunity to get to chat with Jamie Little. Such a great sports personality, someone who appreciates everything about motorsport, about what we do in IndyCar, and we're very lucky to have her as a part of the Fox family and a part of just what we're doing going forward. So
She's the best.
Yeah, very, very cool, and just a great conversation. Learning more about how we get to better places as a sport. So can't wait for the future. But there was something that came out as we were recording the interview, and there's just a rumor, just a little rumor, but it's a rumor that makes me feel good.
Ooh.
And there is a potential, well, it looks like there's a rumor that we might go to Cleveland again in 2028. That was a fun article. And I think the core IndyCar fans, people that know ball, as they say, you know that the Cleveland Street Course was awesome at the airport. I was so lucky, and now, looking back on it now, I was so lucky to get to race there in the Skip Barber National Series. We were the support series for Champ Car that weekend. And Joseph and I got to race there in the National Series. So I do have track time at Cleveland. I did get to go on the track there. It would be so cool. I really hope in some universe that we are allowed to have that happen. That would be awesome.
Cleveland's a great sports town, too.
Great sports town. Yep.
That's one race I need to go back and look at some classic races. I've been doing a lot of that in the offseason. I've been watching a lot of classic IndyCar races on YouTube. So that's been really fun. So
Absolutely.
That's one I got to add to the list.
And it just makes me happy to see that. It's like I don't want to hear about tracks that, it's either an oval or a great street course like Cleveland. It makes me happy.
Agreed.
So also one other thing that came out as well was there's a lot of people remember us talking about the leader circle battle, right? The leader circle is very, very important. The 25 charter entries have an opportunity to go after the top 22 spots in points, which pays an extra $1 million. And that payout in 2025 was basically 1.16 mil, like 1,160,000. And apparently that after the owners' meetings and some chatter with the teams, there was a plan, according to this Racer article, obviously written by Marshall Pruitt, to add another $500,000 to the leader circle.
That's
Guess
gigantic.
What? That's good. That
Yeah.
means that as a two-car team, well, you guys can do the math. That would basically raise the leader circle to nearly 1.7 million per car that finishes in the top 22. That is awesome. So that's a good thing. Great for teams that are investing a ton of money into this sport. Great for the owners who own charters, because guess what? Those charters became a little bit more valuable. If you own, let's say you own 3 cars, and all 3 of those cars finished in the top 22 in points, that's an extra $1.5 million that you just acquired. So that is great news. Let's see that keep going. Sadly, the budgets for racing are still around $8 to $10 million, so we got to figure out how to get a lot of that other money, but this is big. So anyway, have a look at Marshall Pruitt's article if you want more of the information there. This is all... this obviously hasn't been announced by IndyCar, but this is fairly reliable information when it comes from Racer and Marshall. And this is it's just good. So good for the sport. More money is better, and making sure we can keep the businesses and the doors open. So that's
Amen.
awesome. All right. With that, we're going to go to my favorite segment of the show, the Ricky Treadway Random Indy 500 Driver of the Week.
Greatest event of its kind that's ever been run on.
Let's meet the drivers. will make up the field.
This week, we went way back into the history books. We went way back because it's been fun. Honestly, we've had a great time going into the old history books lately. We, of course, went to the 1914 Indy 500. And if you knew that was won by Renee Thomas, then congratulations. You know ball. But that is not our Ricky Treadway Random Indy 500 Driver of the Week. The 27th place finisher, though, is. And the 27th place finisher is Ray Gilhooly. Ray Gilhooly finished 27th, according to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway website. And according to Wikipedia, well, there's nothing here. But Ray Gilhooly, according to Wikipedia, was born July 15th, 1887, and lived all the way till 1973. That's a long life. Great life.
Huge life.
Only one Indy 500, though. Only one Indy 500 according to the Wikipedia, which is obviously not a real news source, but there is some information on there. So 1914, started 20th, finished 27th, and that was Ray Gilhooly. Did you find any other information about him on other various websites?
I actually did on oldracingcars.com. We've got a photo of Ray Gilhooly, kind of a hooligan behind the wheel,
see that.
if you will. And I did find a little bit more information. So he was primarily a car salesman. So we got a car salesman behind the wheel of a car, had a short but reasonable career. He entered in the Isotta Francini for the 1914 Indy 500. I may be mispronouncing that.
Oh, yeah. That's all right.
20th.
Me too.
Crashed on lap 41 and left a longer legacy than his racing. Looks like he did some off-road racing, it appears. Often in a ditch, from what I'm reading.
Did you see that? Gilhooly's crash left a longer legacy than his racing.
Oh, the crash did.
Doing a Gilhooly, as his name was often spelled, referred to any crash that had multiple spins or revolutions before ending up off-road in a ditch.
So he was the reason
he was
for
a crash.
Okay, he was a crash.
That's honestly hilarious. Yeah.
That's where the term hooligan came from. That's what we're going to say on this program. That's what
doing
a
Gilhooly. So if you're spinning and you end up in a ditch, you just got Gilhooly'd. So now we know.
He was a humorous guy, is what I'm reading here at the bottom too. So
yeah,
he had some good humor. So the original hooligan, Ray Gilhooly.
That's awesome. That's very, very funny. We learn something new every day on this program. We appreciate you folks. Please subscribe, like the video, like the podcast, wherever you're listening. Leave us some reviews, whatever you want to do. Share the show with a friend if you feel like it. We really, really appreciate that. We're in the off season. We got IndyCar testing this week, so look out for the social media posts. Don't fall for fake AI Facebook pages. They're not real. Continue to report those pages. It makes me sad when I have to read a lot of comments on there. Facebook AI pages, most of Facebook is honestly, that's a tough place. So just be careful. We want to make sure everyone understands what's real and what's not. So anyway, we appreciate you folks for listening. Stay tuned. Probably some more driver announcements coming in the next couple weeks because I hope we can start to get some clarity to what happens in 2026. And so we'll see you maybe in a week. Probably take another week off. We'll see, and then we'll be back. But we appreciate you listening to the Speed Street podcast. Hey everyone, Connor Daly here. Please leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it, and also subscribe to the channel as well. That would be very helpful. Be a friend, tell a friend. Thank you so much for the support, and we'll see you on the next episode of Speed Street.